When you think of Vikings, you probably imagine them raiding across Europe, pillaging and plundering their way through monasteries and merchant ships. And that is true. They were ferocious warriors and their raids were legendary. But did you know that they also clashed and traded with the Muslim world? Well, today we're going to explore that often forgotten chapter of history. The story of Vikings versus Muslims is one of clashing cultures, fierce battles, and surprising exchanges. These encounters between two distinct civilizations are not only fascinating, but also challenge our conventional understanding of medieval history. So get ready to embark on a journey back in time to discover the untold story of Vikings and Muslims. This encounter between two different worlds began around the 8th century when the Vikings started venturing far beyond their Scandinavian homeland. No longer content with raiding the British Isles and the coasts of Europe, they set their sights on the rich cities of the Abbasid Caliphate. The Muslims, who had been expanding their dominion across North Africa and the Middle East for centuries, were taken aback by these new arrivals from the north. In 844, Viking fleets attacked Muslim Spain, targeting the prosperous city of Seville. This assault was part of a larger trend of Viking incursions into Western Europe. At the time, Seville was a major urban center and an important hub for trade and commerce within the Muslim world. It was known for its beautiful mosques, its thriving markets, and its skilled artisans. The Vikings, with their superior ships and their aggressive tactics, posed a serious threat to the security of the city. The Muslim forces in Seville were led by a governor named Musa ibn Musa, who was determined to defend his city from the Viking onslaught. The ensuing battle was a clash of two different military traditions. The Vikings, with their large and powerful ships, relied on their speed and their maneuverability to gain the upper hand. Meanwhile, the Muslims, with their disciplined and well-trained army, relied on their strategic formations and their superior numbers. Despite the valiant efforts of the Muslim defenders, the Vikings managed to cause significant damage to the city. They looted and plundered the riches of the city and took many captives back to Scandinavia. The Muslim chroniclers of the time, such as Al-Mutahhar ibn Muhammad, described the Vikings as ferocious fighters who were relentless in their attacks and had a taste for blood. They were also noted for their skill in shipbuilding and navigation, which allowed them to travel vast distances across the seas and raid with impunity. Yet, despite the Viking victory on the battlefield, the clash in Seville was not a complete success for the raiders. You see, in addition to facing stiff resistance from the Muslim armies, the Vikings also had to contend with the challenging terrain of the river. The Guadalquivir River, which flows through Seville, was wider and deeper than the rivers in Scandinavia, and the Vikings, accustomed to navigating narrow and shallow waterways, found it difficult to maneuver their longships in these unfamiliar waters. This unexpected obstacle contributed to limiting the extent of their plunder and forced them to retreat with less booty than they had hoped for. Furthermore, the clash in Seville marked only one encounter in a much longer period of interactions between the Vikings and the Muslims. In fact, over the course of several centuries, the Vikings traveled extensively throughout the Muslim world, establishing trading posts and forging alliances with various local rulers. The most famous of these interactions occurred in the 9th century when a group of Vikings led by a man named Ahmad ibn Fadlan traveled to the court of the Abbasid Caliphate. Ibn Fadlan's account of his journey provides a fascinating glimpse into the culture and customs of the Vikings. He described their appearance, their clothing, and their religious beliefs, as well as their behavior and their interactions with the Muslims. According to Ibn Fadlan, the Vikings were a fierce and warlike people who lived in cold and desolate lands. They were tall and strong with long and flowing beards and hair, and they wore animal skins as clothing. They were also known for their love of drinking and their strange rituals, such as human sacrifice. Despite these differences, however, Ibn Fadlan noted that the Vikings were honorable and trustworthy, and he praised their craftsmanship and their knowledge of navigation. Overall, Ibn Fadlan's account of the Vikings provides a valuable source of information for understanding the interactions between these two civilizations during the medieval period. Another example of Viking-Muslim interaction can be seen in the city of Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Located at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, Constantinople was a melting pot of different cultures, including those of the Vikings and the Muslims. During the 9th and 10th centuries, the Vikings established a market there where they traded their goods with merchants from all over the world, including Muslims from the Middle East and North Africa. The Vikings sold items such as furs, timber, and honey, while the Muslims brought spices, textiles, and glassware to the market. This exchange of goods not only enriched the lives of the people of Constantinople, but also contributed to the growth of the city's economy. Additionally, the presence of Vikings and Muslims in Constantinople created a unique cultural atmosphere. The three cultures, each with its own language, religion, and customs, interacted and exchanged ideas, creating a vibrant and diverse community. The Vikings with their tales of adventure and exploration, the Muslims with their knowledge of science and mathematics, and the Byzantines with their rich artistic traditions, all contributed to making Constantinople a center of intellectual and cultural exchange. As you can see, the Vikings didn't only attack Muslim lands. In fact, they engaged in extensive trading activities with the Muslim world. As mentioned earlier, they traveled along the major rivers of Russia, including the Volga and the Kama, which connected them to the Muslim merchants of the Abbasid Caliphate. Through this trade, the Vikings acquired valuable goods such as silk, spices, and silver, which they then sold in Scandinavia or used to strengthen their alliances with the Muslims. To understand the extent of Viking-Muslim trade, let's look at the archaeological evidence. Archaeologists have discovered thousands of Arabic silver coins called dirhams in Viking lands. These coins, which date from the 8th to the 11th centuries, were minted in Muslim regions such as Iraq, Syria, and Egypt. The discovery of these coins in Scandinavia provides tangible evidence of the economic ties between the Vikings and the Muslims. Moreover, the analysis of these coins has revealed interesting details about the trade routes and the nature of the goods exchanged. For example, the concentration of Muslim coins in certain areas of Scandinavia suggests that some regions were more involved in trade than others. Certain types of coins were also found to be more common, indicating that they were likely used for specific purposes, such as long-distance trade or as gifts for important figures. By studying these coins, archaeologists have been able to piece together a more complete picture of the Viking-Muslim trade network and its impact on medieval economies. Overall, the story of Vikings versus Muslims is a testament to the interconnectedness of medieval history. It challenges the traditional narrative that often portrays medieval Europe as isolated and disconnected from the rest of the world. In reality, medieval Europe was part of a larger global network of trade and cultural exchange. The interactions between the Vikings and the Muslims were a key aspect of this network and played a significant role in shaping the history of medieval Europe. But now, it's time for you to join the conversation. What do you find most fascinating about the encounters between Vikings and Muslims? Did you know about the trading ties between them? Or did you only know about the wars? Share your thoughts and comments below. Also, please remember to like, share, and subscribe because it helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you top-quality videos. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the past. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the past.